No explosions, no breaking news, and yet billions of dollars are being lost every single day because the most important route in the global economy is no longer reliable. This is the Strait of Hormuz, only about 33 to 39 kilometers wide at its narrowest navigable point. But it carries nearly 20% of the world's oil. Recently, Donald Trump announced a plan to guide ships safely through it. On paper, it sounds like control. But in reality, nothing changed. Oil prices stayed high, ships stayed cautious, and the market stayed unconvinced, which tells us something deeper. This is no longer a temporary disruption. This is a fragile system under pressure. And when a system like this becomes unstable, it doesn't just affect oil. It quietly starts affecting everything. Because the global economy doesn't run on oil alone. It runs on the flow of oil. And right now, that flow is broken. For years, this narrow passage functioned like a perfectly efficient pipeline. Tankers moved freely. Supply remained predictable. Prices stayed relatively stable. But now, that predictability is gone. Fewer ships are passing through. Security risks are rising. And every decision to move through this route is now a calculated gamble. This is where the real shift begins. Because markets don't panic only when supply disappears. They react when certainty disappears. And uncertainty is expensive. When oil flow becomes unpredictable, the impact spreads in layers. First, supply tightens. Then prices rise. That increase doesn't stay in the oil market. It moves into transportation. It moves into manufacturing. It moves into food production. And eventually, it reaches you. Fuel becomes expensive. Electricity costs increase. Goods become harder to afford. Not because something dramatic happened overnight, but because something critical stopped working smoothly. Right now, millions of barrels per day are affected. Shipping activity has dropped significantly. And oil prices have surged since the conflict began. But here's what most people misunderstand. Even if the situation stabilizes tomorrow, the effects won't disappear. Because systems like this don't reset instantly. There will be backlogs of ships waiting to pass, delays in delivery, damaged infrastructure that needs time to recover, higher insurance and security costs that won't suddenly drop, which means the world doesn't return to normal. It adjusts to a new level of cost. And that adjustment is what we call inflation. What makes this even more complex is not just the disruption, but the reaction to it. The market has already heard announcements. It has already seen promises. But it is no longer responding to words. It is watching reality. And reality says the risk is still there. This is why even major announcements fail to calm prices, because trust, once shaken, doesn't return immediately. And in global systems, trust is everything. Without trust, ships slow down. Trade becomes cautious. Decisions become delayed. And every delay has a cost. The impact is not equal for everyone. Countries that produce energy can absorb some of the shock. But countries that depend on imported energy feel it immediately. Places like Pakistan, India, China, and many parts of Asia are highly exposed to these disruptions because their economies rely on steady, affordable energy flow. When that flow is disturbed, fuel prices rise. Electricity becomes unstable or expensive. Industries slow down, and daily life becomes more costly. This is how a narrow stretch of water turns into a global pressure point. And this is why the situation is more serious than it appears. Because the real risk is not just closure. The real risk is prolonged uncertainty. If the world believed this would be resolved quickly, markets would adjust and stabilize. But right now, the market is not convinced. And that lack of confidence is what keeps the system under tension. So, the question is no longer whether this route will open or close. The real question is, how long will it remain unpredictable? Because unpredictability is what drives long-term cost. The longer uncertainty stays, the more deeply it embeds itself into the global economy. And once that happens, prices don't just rise temporarily. They reset. The Strait of Hormuz is not just a location on the map. It is a control point, a narrow space with a disproportionate influence over the entire system. Right now, that control point is unstable. And when something this critical becomes unstable, it doesn't need to collapse to create impact. It only needs to slow down. Because in a system built on speed and efficiency, even a small delay can become very expensive. And that is why these few kilometers are currently the most expensive in the world. If you want to understand how global systems quietly shape your life, subscribe to Mizan Suleman. Because here, we don't just follow events. We understand why they matter.